Hi, I'm Paul Hendler of Stellenbosch Transparency, and this is a short blog on the breaches in the fence between the Onderpapegaaiberg suburb and the Papegaaiberg Nature Reserve in Stellenbosch. In February, I started blogging about the idea of democracy and how we are interpolated into our democracy here in Onderpapegaaiberg. I was inspired by what I had read in Sheldon Wolin's Democracy Incorporated, Managed Democracy, and the Spectre of Inverted Totalitarianism. This seems a useful framework for trying to understand the rigged democratic processes around the construction of our fence. I plan to produce 4 blogs on this topic. I completed the first 2, one on inverted totalitarianism as a concept, the other on examples of this in South Africa. The third blog is about the manifestations of inverted totalitarianism in Stellenbosch. This should have been posted weeks ago, but it has taken longer than planned because I've been completing videos on Stellenbosch Transparency's research in Stellenbosch. In the meantime, I still go on my walks on the boundary, now the fence. The fence now stretches across the eastern boundary of the cemetery. It runs westward until the edge of the south-facing cemeteries. At various points, I have found breaches and breakages in the fence. The fence is therefore not all that it is cracked out to be. Hi, this is Paul Hendler of Stellenbosch Transparency again. It's the 10th of March 2019 and I thought I would just give you a quick update on the fence, which is now running all the way, as you can see, on the eastern perimeter of the cemetery at the foot of the Papegaaiberg mountain. And what is interesting to me on this fence is that I noticed 2 telltale signs of breakages. So I'll show you the first one. It's very small, but you can see that someone has broken the metal structure. But the other one is far more serious, although it's been patched up. And I'll show it to you now. If you look very carefully, you'll see that there's a piece that's been taken out completely, and it's also been wired back again. It looks like this was done and then it was repaired. And if we go very close, you can see how it was rewired. Okay. And if I had enough time and I wanted to remove this, I would be able to. But nevertheless, it would take quite a lot of time, and if I was a robber, then I wouldn't have the time. So I think this patchwork here is probably okay, but it raises a much bigger question, and that is the strength of the tensile strength of the rods in this fence and how susceptible they are to being cut. And it would be interesting to find out what the tensile strength is and what type of implement is sufficient to cut through such a structure. But for the rest of the section of the fence at the eastern perimeter of this cemetery, for the rest of the extension of the fence, as far as I can see, there are no problems of breaking and entering and cutting through. But I'll keep you updated. Thank you. Bye. Here we're now at a section of the fence which is at the eastern side of the cemetery, and on the other side a very large log has been manipulated or maneuvered into position. It's difficult for you to see, I think, but I'm trying to show you as best as I can. And if you look very carefully, you'll notice that there's a tire that's been placed on top of this log. This may be a better way to view it. I think you can see it better there with the light. And that tire, for someone to stand on that tire, it gets them pretty close to the top of the fence in terms of clambering over. And I just want to give you a sense of the distance between the top of the tire and the top of the fence. There you can see the distance between the top of the fence and the top of the tire, and you can see on the bottom how much distance that makes up. And you'll also notice on the other side of the fence it's very liberally sprayed with logs of trees that have been cut down. Some of them are small enough for 1 or 2 strong people to drag and to actually create a makeshift ladder to get over. And here you have a example of all the tires. Other side of the fence, if you look carefully, lots of tires. Lots of tires. You could actually build, just with these tires alone, quite a comfortable little ladder to get over this. Okay, here you have an example of a massive log which one could stand on, and it would lift you a good few feet off the ground to clamber over the top of that fence. Here's another example of a massive log right next to the fence, which really, they don't move this, it actually undermines the entire strategy. You can see how close that gets you to the top of the fence. Hi, this is Paul Hendler from Stellenbosch Transparency again. It's Friday the 22nd of March, and I discovered a point where the fence has been breached on the boundary of the Papegaaiberg Nature Reserve, and I'm just showing you how the top part of this section of the fence has been pulled down from more or less halfway across that section, and you can see that it's been ripped out of the part inside the pole that holds it up. It's been ripped out of there. I'll show you the side that fits in there. You'll notice that there's not really any screws on that side tying it into the pole, so you have to actually get up there, and you have to, I'm showing you the one just next to the pole, you have to knock it out at the top of its fitting, and then you can effectively bend that part of the fence down, and you can create a sort of soft overhang so you don't get damaged by these spikes, you know, which should actually be sticking up. I'm showing you the spikes sticking down, but they should actually be sticking up, as on this side over here. And another interesting thing, if we look down towards the bottom of the fence, you'll notice that a branch has actually been wedged against the fence. You can see it just if you look through the fence very carefully, and it's very clear to me that whoever did this got on top of this branch, and that gave them sufficient height. When you see where the branch is, that gave them sufficient height to actually stand up and force the top over. Whether they then climbed over or not, we don't know. What the motives were, we also don't know. But the point that I want to make is that the fence is in fact more easily breachable than the securocrats who run our suburb have acknowledged. And I'm going to show you another section further on where another form of breaching has happened. So I'm now about 40 meters maybe further on the perimeter, and I've noticed another section where the top half of the fence with the spikes has actually been pushed down. It should be sitting much closer to the top, as you can see. I can show you what it looks like on the other side. It's very close to the top, as you can see. Well, it's definitely been manipulated or manhandled or forced down, and that is surely through human action, not through some sort of accident. I'm now on top of the Papegaaiberg, and I've come across this absolutely disgusting scene of dumping, and I'm just showing you the absolute horror of it. This is partly what the ward committee told me that night that they're trying to prevent by cordoning off the entire nature reserve, and clearly there's a massive problem here. I don't think this is the only spot, but there's terrible dumping here, and it's done by probably outside companies and outside industry parties, and there seriously is a problem here. Whether building a fence and all of that is the way to go about it, addressing this problem is of course another question.